there was an agreement in both sides that we must strive hard to keep our region and Indian Ocean as a peaceful region, to allow peaceful atmosphere in order to allow the growth to take place and development of this whole region. Accordingly, we decided that either party and both countries will commit not to create any situation which could be a threat to the legitimate interest of each other's security concerns.
Foreign Affairs Minister Ali Sabri said that President Ranil Wickremesinghe's desire is to make the most of the development opportunities in the Indian Ocean region, which is the world's largest emerging economic region. Today, no country in the world can advance alone, and every developed country in the world has made progress through regional partnerships, the minister said, adding that the president's program is to fulfill the development expectations of Sri Lanka by developing Indo-Sri Lankan relations in a manner that benefits both parties and does not threaten them. Minister Sabri stated this while attending the press conference yesterday to inform about the two-day official visit of President Ranil Wickremesinghe to India and the vision of India-Sri Lanka economic partnership. Emphasizing that the president or the government will never do anything that threatens the country, the minister also said that it is the government's aim to implement those activities with the full understanding and agreement of all parties.
His Excellency President Ranil Wickremesinghe and his delegation concluded a two-day very successful visit to India. During his visit, he met the External Affairs Minister, the National Security Advisor, and finally, His Excellency Narendra Modi, Prime Minister, together with his delegation. Those discussions went on for a few hours. Toward the end of the discussion, we also went and paid a visit to a courtesy call to the President of India. So overall, discussions were held in very cordial atmosphere, discussed matters in a frank, pragmatic, and a futuristic manner. The whole discussion centered around economic cooperation between the two countries. The idea is both countries and all of us believe that there is a huge opportunity for the whole region to grow into an economic power. It is accepted norm in the world that 2/3 of the growth during the next 2 to 3 decades will come from the Asia-Pacific region. So with that, there is a huge opportunity presented for all of us to cash on and uplift the living standard of our countries. So in doing so, rather than stand alone, it's important that we work as a team. That's how the European Union had developed as a region. The Middle East has developed as a region. The North Americans have developed as a region. The East Asian countries, like tiger economies, ASEAN countries have developed as a region. And mainland China, such a huge country, developed as a region. So the net worth of growth could happen and propel in South Asia. So we want to work together to cooperation, understanding, joint ventures, particularly with India and the southern Indian region. In order to do that, we need to put the people-to-people contact. So we decided putting people-to-people connectivity is very, very important. As a first step, we thought that we must have more frequencies on air. Secondly, we thought that we should have ferry services. Thirdly, on the long run, we also thought we must at least have a feasible study done in order to looking at the long-term connectivity through either road or through the ferry services where, other than some other countries have done, on port and off port, where you come on a vehicle, get into a barge or with your vehicle and go there, and most of the countries are doing it. So that depends on the feasibility on the long run. For that, I think we should start that. We should start negotiations on that, studies on that, and probably we must consult everybody in this country and to the parliament whether we should go ahead with it and what are the economic benefits for both countries. So many countries have done that. So we are looking at that. So connectivity is very important part of this discussion. Secondly, how to get the maximum support for our economic development in the country. We also thank His Excellency the President, thank the Indian government and the Prime Minister for the support during the crucial stage of Sri Lankan economy last year, during which they supported us with about 4 billion worth of credit lines. And also their support was crucial at the IMF. And going forward, it's also important for us to get the debt restructured. So we continue to work with them in order to get that done so that we can move on with a new economy and take the bankrupt tag out of our economy. So we discussed that, and thereafter there are many areas of interest. Together we discussed tourism, air connectivity, sea connectivity, education cooperation, digitalization cooperation, dairy sector cooperation, health sector cooperation, cultural cooperation, and also to support the view of to uplift the living standard of our upcountry Tamil community of Indian origin who are completing 200 years of their stay here in Sri Lanka. So in order to propel that growth, it was also discussed that Indians will invest about 750 million Indian rupees during the next year or two in order to support that upliftment. And we also wanted the feasibility of establishing some Indian universities in Sri Lanka. So it will provide opportunities for the Sri Lankan students to study and also to make Sri Lanka a regional hub for education. Then, of course, we also discussed the sensitive issue of fisheries issues. Particularly, Minister Douglas Devananda also was part of the delegation. We discussed the matter about the bottom trawling of the Indian fishermen. We explained the gravity of that and the danger it caused to the fishing life. And then we wanted to avoid that at any cost. We need to discuss that further. His president also took up the request that allowing innocent passage to the Sri Lankan fishermen to pass the Indian territory and go into the Arabian and the Mid Sea for long-term fishing. So those discussions were taken in. It was agreed that our joint working groups must meet each other and identify this. And digital connectivity was one of the most important things. India have made great strides on that, make use of their technical know-how, knowledge and investment in propelling the Sri Lanka growth in digitalization was another area of discussion which we continue to discuss with them. Thirdly, we also know we need technical assistance in improving our agriculture sector, dairy and animal husbandry. We discussed that. We also decided to continue to discuss this further. Defense and maritime cooperation in order to prevent human trafficking, in order to prevent drug trafficking, in order to prevent all sorts of smuggling, and how to cooperate with each other was discussed. And then there was an agreement, a sense of agreement in both sides that we must strive hard to keep our region and Indian Ocean as a peaceful region to allow peaceful atmosphere in order to allow the growth to take place and development of this whole region. Accordingly, we decided that either party and both countries will commit not to create any situation which could be a threat to the legitimate interest of each other's security concerns, legitimate security concerns. Apart from that, there were many other important discussions were taken place. His Excellency Prime Minister Narendra Modi particularly told that he is committed to the Sri Lanka's growth, development, and Indians will continue to support, and he will encourage the Indian to both government sector and the private sector to take part in that development path of it. His Excellency President Ranil Wickremesinghe explained his elaborate plan for reconciliation and bringing peace to the entire country. He told that he considered entire Sri Lankans, irrespective of their race, religion, culture, linguistic differences, as Sri Lankans, and his aim is to create a situation which is conducive for long-standing growth in this country. Accordingly, he told that he is keen in implementing the 13th Amendment, and as far as the police powers are concerned, he will consult all the parties in the government and the opposition and in the parliament and decide the way forward. Apart from that, most of the other areas, he was of the opinion that it can be implemented, and he will do that. And accordingly, he also told he has a special plan for northern development. Because due to the 30-year war, northern development had not taken place at the desired pace. So he told that he has a special plan to do that. And also he told to the upcountry Tamils, also he wants to help them to fully integrate into the Sri Lankan society. Accordingly, he told the 13th Amendment, the reconciliation mechanism, the TRC, and the entire mechanism he explained. So accordingly, it was all decided that all of us must work together as Sri Lankans, and all Sri Lankans should be able to live with dignity, respect, and under a common identity of Sri Lankans. Thank you very much. I would like to take any question if you want.
For more latest news, subscribe to FTTV.